We are joined with Dani and Andy Mellsop, lead pastors of Elim Christian Centre West. Now, not only are these two lovely individuals and great friends, but they have been doing so much in West Auckland, and I was just like, man, we've got to talk to you to figure out what is actually happening, what is happening on the ground, what are you seeing? And a little bit later, we want to talk to you about what you're actually doing about it too. So what are you seeing?
Yeah, thank you guys for having us today.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for coming in, by the way.
8 months pregnant. This is amazing.
Dani's 8 months pregnant amongst all of this. So
This baby's going to be ready for a crisis. That's what we keep saying.
That's
It's going
right.
to come out prepared.
Come out ready to serve the community.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, well, there's just been so much that's been going on out in the West, but also just across Auckland as well. It's just been so crazy, absolutely heartbreaking. So now for the West, there's been about 3 floods that have happened as well. And so, yeah, just homes, people, their places are just absolutely destroyed. They've lost everything. And, yeah, it's just heartbreaking because for many of them, it's not the first time this has happened in their homes. It's just like several things that have happened for the floods. And so, yeah, we've been with people who have just lost absolutely everything. Just so heartbreaking with what's going on, hey?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are they're at their wits' end right now. Like the statistics, they were showing that there's been 9 floods in the last 7 years for some of these places and areas. Some of them, they got flooded that first time around, and then they did the big cleanup. They did everything they had to do. Then they got flooded again, and so just the people's mental health is really starting to go down.
Yeah.
And one house we went to, they just from 18 months ago they got flooded, and just a couple of months ago the insurance finally came through with everything, replaced everything. And now they're starting the process over again. So, yeah, as you can imagine, people are pretty low.
Yeah.
But, it's just been great to get in and just be able to give a little bit of hope.
So where do you start, right? So which part of West Auckland is Elim West based in? Where's your...
We're in Henderson.
Henderson, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Henderson Valley, a lot of places around there. I live out west as well, so I know the area. Hit pretty hard with the flooding and, where do you start? You know, the cyclone comes through, obviously, and the weather's terrible. Everyone hunkers down. And then it sort of opens up a little bit. What happens then? Like, where do you begin, and where did the ideas come from with what you guys have started doing? And we'd love to hear about that as well.
Yeah,
awesome.
well, it's come from God in prayer, the whole thing, just Him leading us with what to do. So at first when everything happened, we have some friends who were working with the shelters, and so we went to the shelters at first and we were just like, hey, what can we do? Our church is available, we're ready to come and help out. And so we sat there for a while just watching what was going on and stuff. And so the shelters were able to meet some of those needs, but they were just so slammed, just so busy. And so we really felt on our hearts that there's people out on the streets and people out in the neighborhoods who are not yet being reached. And so we just went home and we just prayed. We were just on our knees and just said, God, what can we do right now during this time? And so we just felt led to just go, just drive through the streets. We just looked up Andy and I to see different streets that were affected. And so we just drove through West Auckland and just went to go see what was going on, saw the place, how destroyed it was, and then we just started door knocking and just talking to different people, and then found out all the needs that were available, and then we just said we need to do something about this because obviously the shelters can't meet these needs. There were people on the streets that needed to be met, but also a bunch of people reaching out as well to us saying they want to help out too, and so the shelters were, because they're so slammed, they're taking a bit longer to get back to people.
Yeah.
So we came up with the idea of spread love, and so we just thought if we can get a whole bunch of churches together during this time to just go out into the community all at once, just rock up at doors and just help out as much as we can to people, and then just be able to fill out a need that the other places weren't doing. And so because we found out that some of the homes, they need a lot of cleanup. There's carpets that were destroyed, things that were destroyed that people were not able to go there and reach to yet, and also elderly people as well that needed some extra hands. So we came up with Spread Love, and we quickly put that together.
Yeah, I think the biggest place you're asking where to start, talking to civil defence shelters, they know what they know.
Yeah.
But there was so much need that they didn't actually know everything that was going on. And you can't expect them to, let's be honest. But that's where community groups on Facebook are fantastic, because you see what people are putting up and you see the areas that are need.
Yeah.
And then going in and speaking to people, you see the need. And then we're able to just write a list and then put it out to all the community groups. Hey, we've got a list of people that need help, that haven't yet been helped with, not even getting garbage trucks to come and pick up their rubbish or whiteware. So, hey, if you're free, come on down. This is the time. Because a lot of people want to help, but they don't know where to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're like, come along.
That direction.
And we'll give direction. We'll tell you the areas. We'll tell you the streets. And
Yeah.
so, within 24 hours, we had over 100 people show
Yeah.
up, and
Over 100
people with
people
diggers
came.
and dump trucks and everything just pop up, and then we were
It was
able to get them
amazing.
to people who needed help, which was,
Yeah, and it was just cool to see like some of like one street that we helped out. There was just so much elderly people there, and so we rocked up, and they were like really stressed out about how they were going to clean their homes and do so much fixing their places. And so like 15 guys would like rock up to one home, just like go ahead and clean their house, or like 10 people rock up to another home. So they were like, people were in tears. People were just like overwhelmed by the church's response during this time. So we want to also say a massive thank you to all the churches and the pastors as well that joined with us across West Auckland to come and help us on that day. And the community as well, people that we didn't know of, people that were just out on the streets ready to help out, showing up to come and help out.
That is just incredible. And I know when I was talking to you last night, you were saying in 24 hours you put together this event, and it was just through prayer. You were like, God, what can we do? You get this idea. The fact that the community shows up and is able to help in this way. I know that after the Spread Love event, you then were like, God, there's still so much need. What can we do? And I know you were in prayer and you were asking God, like, oh gosh, like there's people who need food. There's people who are on their last meal. Can you tell us what happened next?
Yeah, so just like a couple of days ago, we were just feeling led by God while we were in prayer that we should open up our church building. But we were wondering, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to get all these different things together? What's still the need out there? And so we're just praying, and we felt, okay, we're going to open up our church building and just go from there. And then that morning, after the night we felt led, we're going to go and open up our church. I got a call from a guy in the community that we were already working with, and he just early in the morning, he's like, hey, I've got about 3,000 meals. I know what you guys are doing. Can I come and drop this off at your church? And then we can get this out. And we were like, yes, okay. Quickly got together in the morning, got ready, got to our church, opened up our church doors, and then had all those meals there. And then we just spread the message everywhere, just all on social media. And we just got slammed at our church building.
That's great.
People
That's what
just
you
came.
want, right? That's the goal. It's cool to see the church really stepping up in this kind of time. And I know you were talking about churches coming together and working in that sort of thing. What's been the best part of it? I mean, I know it's weird to look at it that way because it's such a horrible thing, but out of that, often good comes from the bad. What has been for you guys been the best part of what you're doing, organising and feeding and looking after all these people?
So much good, like honestly, and like God's just moving so much. But I think the highlight, as I was saying to Becky last night, is with the crisis, we're able to reach people that would never step into a church door.
Yeah, that's true.
And so with the crisis, people are so open to us being able to walk into their homes and walk into their streets and walk into their spaces. And so that's just been so beautiful for us to be able to, us and other churches, be able to go into these spaces and be with people, and for them who are far away from God or who have never experienced God before, to be able to see this is what actually God's about. It's so much more than a church building. Like for us, we had one Sunday where our church was closed because of the flooding, but a lot of us went out into the streets to do stuff, and we were like, this is actually church.
Yeah.
What's actually going on here? And so just being able to reach those people who would never be able to come into the church doors, and them to be able to experience God's love through it all.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing to see, because most people have a bit of a wall up when it comes to talking about their faith or God. If they have preconceived perceptions of what the church is and what we want. And so, coming in, their walls are already down. Like they're open for help, they want for help. And you get past all that preconception, and they get to see God's love in action. And the thing we love is, the Bible talks about, as the church, we should be a city on a hilltop, right?
Yeah.
And people during this time, especially in the communities we're a part of, they're not having to go searching for the church.
Yeah.
They're not having to go searching for God's love. It's on their street. It's in their neighborhood. And I think that's definitely been a highlight, just having those conversations, hearing people's stories. And then after they say, oh, so who are you with? What are you part of? And whether us or our team or whoever, whatever church is there, say, oh, we're from the church. They're like, oh, okay, we thought you were from council or something like that. And so, it's just been beautiful to see people realizing what the church is supposed to be, who we're supposed to be. It's not a building, it's a people. Yeah.
On that note, then, how would you encourage those of us who might be feeling like, oh, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to help? There's so many, it's like the split, right? You've got these people who are directly affected and are in such a chaotic situation and fighting for their lives, and you have others who maybe not affected at all and wondering what to do. And it can be easy to just go, God, where are you in this? So it's awesome to hear stories. Actually, God is in the hands and feet of his people. people. But like, what can you do if you're feeling a little bit like, I don't know how to help? What can I do? What would your
great
advice
question.
be?
Yeah. Well, what we've been saying as well is that everyone can do something, even if it's just praying at home for people, like praying for those who are out on the front line, praying for those who actually are involved, but even just seeking God about it as well and just asking God, what do you want me to do in this time as well? And just simple things that we can all do, checking up on your neighbours, checking up, just
great.
go knocking on a couple of doors and just ask them, are you guys okay? What can we do? Just simple things I think that you can do. Go buy someone groceries, just be able to say a kind word to them because people in their mental health, they're just so stressed out right now. So just looking at different ways and use social media as well. Put something up on a community group. Community groups have been amazing.
Yep.
Put something up and just say, is there anyone out there that needs help? And people will respond because there's just so much need out there. So there's definitely things that you can do.
Have you found, I know you mentioned a story before, like where you go to someone's house and they've been up for 2 days trying to clean out the flooding damage and that, and they're just doing that on their own. As New Zealanders, we're pretty good at just being like, oh yeah, we'll be all right. Don't need help. We'll just soldier on and work myself into an early grave, you know, and not asking for help and just doing it on their own. Have you come across many situations like that where there's people who just have not even reached out and are just trying to battle through?
Yeah, there's a wide range, a huge variety of people. There's, I'd say we've definitely come across some people like that. Maybe it's their first time going through it, and they, the kind of things that they say is, oh, you know, there's people who are worse off.
Yeah.
We're okay, go help them. But, you know, when you actually hear how long they've been up, I mentioned that one family off here. They're just an elderly couple, and they had been for 2 days straight just scooping up mud from their basement, and you could see they were tired. They were worn out. They obviously hadn't rested.
Yeah.
And so just to be able to be there and give them a bit of relief was great. But then on the flip side, you have those who it's their second, third, fourth, fifth time being flooded. And in conversations with them, they also brought this up, and they said the first time it happened, they were like that. Because they thought, oh, there's other people who are worse off. But then they realize how long it takes to do this, and even insurance companies to get involved. You know, the council's got a lot of things to do, so organising this and that. And so now the second time, third time around, they're like, okay, it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
And what you find is that neighbours help neighbours. Because it won't just be an isolated road on a street, it'll be a section of a street. And it's cool just to see neighbours now, they've been through it before, they gather around each other. You know, it's community.
Yeah,
but definitely
sticking
there's
up for each
a
other.
few people like that. But once you talk to them, realize, hey, look, we're here. 2 hours, we'll move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, well, it's been so good chatting to you guys this morning. This is Danielle and Andy Mellsop from from lead pastors of Elim Christian Centre West. And I mean, we just wanted to get you guys in, and not to, you know, blow your horn or anything, but you guys have been doing great work. And I know, you know, just an example of many churches and groups around the country that have been digging in and helping out in the community. So hopefully it's been inspiring to listen to, and maybe pushed you to be like, hey, maybe I can do something, and, you know, check in with my neighbours and that. So again, thanks, guys.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having
Thank you.
us.